Going into this Group I finale in Boston, most of the football world expected the headline story to be Kylian Mbappé chasing down Erling Haaland in a personal goal-scoring duel. Instead, Ousmane Dembélé completely tore up that script, scoring one of the fastest hat-tricks in World Cup history and turning what could have been a routine dead rubber into one of the most talked-about individual performances of the entire tournament. Both France and Norway had already secured their place in the knockout stage heading into this match, with only top spot in Group I left to play for. That meant the stakes, while real, weren't quite as desperate as they might otherwise have been, and Norway's head coach Thelo Solbakken made the most of that breathing room by making 10 changes to his starting lineup. Most notably, that meant resting Erling Haaland, the tournament's leading scoring threat heading into this game, along with captain Martin Aasgaard, both of whom watched the entire match unfold from the bench. It was a calculated gamble designed to protect his most important players ahead of the knockout rounds, even if it meant fielding what was essentially a reserve side against one of the strongest squads in the competition. France made changes of their own, though nowhere near as drastic. William Saliba sat this one out with a sore back, with Crystal Palace's Maxence Lacroix stepping in at centre-back, while Désiré Doué, Theo Hernandez, and Aurélien Tchouameni all returned to the starting 11. Crucially, both Dembélé and Mbappé kept their places in the side, with Mbappe winning his 101st cap for France and continuing his own pursuit of Lionel Messi's all-time World Cup scoring record, sitting on 16 goals and looking to add more. There was also a quieter subplot running underneath the lineup news that made this match feel bigger than a routine group finale against weakened opposition. Going up against a Norway side missing its two most dangerous attacking weapons removed a layer of jeopardy, sure, but it also gave Didier Deschamps players a clean opportunity to send a message heading into the knockout stage, that this French attack doesn't need a marquee opponent to be must-watch viewing. With qualification already secured, the only thing left to fight for was the symbolic weight of finishing the group stage with a perfect record, and as it turned out, that symbolic motivation was more than enough to spark one of the standout individual displays of the entire tournament. It took barely 20 seconds for France to announce their intentions, as Mbappe unleashed an angled shot that crashed off the crossbar right from kickoff. Norway's makeshift back line had been warned, but the warning didn't last long. Just 6 minutes in, Mbappe picked out Dembele with a glorious crossfield pass, and the Paris Saint-Germain forward cut inside, dropped a shoulder to wrong-foot his marker, and fired an angled shot beyond goalkeeper Egil Selvik to put France ahead. It was a clean, confident finish from a player who has increasingly looked like one of the most dangerous attackers in the world since his move into a more central role. Dembele wasn't finished. In the 20th minute, Mbappe found him again, and this time Dembele gained a yard of separation from his marker before curling a dipping shot past Selvik to double France's lead. Norway responded almost immediately, pulling a goal back just over a minute later through Thelo Aasgaard, who has a French mother and clearly wasn't intimidated by the occasion, firing in from the edge of the box to make it 2-1 and give the second-string Norwegians a genuine foothold in the match. That hope lasted exactly 11 more minutes. In the 32nd minute, Dembele completed his hat-trick by finding the same corner he'd targeted with his second goal, curling another low finish past Selvik to restore France's two-goal cushion at 3-1. The achievement was extraordinary by any historical measure, a hat-trick completed within 25 minutes of game time, making it the second fastest hat-trick in men's World Cup history, behind only Erich Probst's 24-minute treble for Austria against Czechoslovakia all the way back in 1954. It was also the first time any player had scored a first-half hat-trick at a men's World Cup since Russia's Oleg Salenko famously scored 5 goals against Cameroon in 1994. For context on how rare this feat truly is at this level, Dembele became only the third French player ever to score a World Cup hat-trick, joining the legendary Just Fontaine, who managed it twice during the 1958 tournament, and Mbappe himself, who scored 3 in the 2022 final against Argentina. Norway searched for a way back into the match in the second half, and they nearly got the chance to make things interesting again. In the 50th minute, Theo Hernandez was penalized for a foul on Oscar Bob inside the box, and the referee pointed to the spot. Jørgen Strand Larsen stepped up to take it but stuttered through his run-up and produced a tame effort that French goalkeeper Mike Maignan saved comfortably, denying Norway any real route back into contention. Norway continued to push, and Bob himself came close in the 72nd minute, forcing another good save out of Maignan after working his way into a one-on-one opportunity. But France's defense, even with a backup centre-back in the lineup, held firm for the remainder of the half. France added some gloss to the scoreline in the dying moments of the match. In the 4th minute of stoppage time, substitute Bradley Barcola whipped in a cross that Désiré Doué met with a header to make it 4-1, securing his first goal of the tournament and putting an emphatic exclamation point on what had already been a one-sided second half once Norway's penalty chance had gone begging. The final whistle confirmed a perfect group stage campaign for France, who won all 3 of their matches in Group I to top the table heading into the knockout rounds. It also extended a remarkable trend for this French side. This was the 3rd match in a row at this World Cup in which they scored at least 3 goals, a run that underlines just how dangerous this attacking unit has looked throughout the group phase. Between them, Mbappe and Dembele have now scored 8 of France's 10 goals so far at this tournament, 4 apiece, with Barcola and Doué chipping in with the other 2 in matches against Senegal and Norway respectively. It's the kind of distributed, multi-threat attack that makes France look like genuine favorites heading into the knockout stage, regardless of which opponent ends up standing across from them. For Dembele personally, this was a hat-trick that arrived at close to perfect timing. Already the reigning Ballon d'Or winner after a transformative season under his PSG coach Luis Enrique, who shifted him from a wide role into a more central striking position, Dembele has now scored 4 goals at this World Cup after also finding the net in France's earlier 3-0 win over Iraq. Speaking to reporters afterward, he made clear that personal milestones weren't really the point for him, explaining that finishing top of the group mattered because of what comes next in the tournament, and that France intends to keep its focus sharp given the increasing difficulty of the matches still ahead. There's a broader storyline here too, one that extends well beyond a single night in Boston. For years, the conversation around this French attack has centered almost entirely on Mbappe, with everyone else around him treated as a supporting cast member rather than a genuine secondary threat. This performance, and the broader pattern of Dembele's tournament so far, makes that framing increasingly difficult to defend. A player capable of scoring a 25-minute World Cup hat-trick against any opposition, weakened or otherwise, isn't simply riding shotgun in someone else's story anymore. If anything, the partnership between the 2 of them, 2 assists from Mbappe directly setting up 2 of Dembele's 3 goals here, suggests France's attack works best not when one superstar dominates the ball, but when both players are actively creating problems for defenses at the same time. For Norway, there's still plenty to play for despite this defeat, since the result doesn't change the fact that both nations had already qualified for the knockout rounds before kickoff. Solbaken's decision to rest virtually his entire first-choice spine, including Haaland and Aasgaard, was a clear bet that the cost of a group stage loss against a fully motivated France side would be far smaller than the benefit of having his best players fresh and ready for the round of 32. Norway now travel to Dallas to face Ivory Coast, while France head to New Jersey to face a third-place qualifier widely expected to be Sweden, both fixtures landing on the same day as the tournament moves into its knockout phase. It's worth remembering, too, that gambles like Solbaken's only look smart in hindsight if the bigger prize actually materializes. Resting your most dangerous player and your captain against any opponent carries real risk, even one with nothing tangible left to gain, simply because momentum and rhythm matter heading into knockout football. Norway's backup options competed admirably for long stretches, and Aasgaard's goal showed there's genuine quality even outside the headline names in this squad. But the gulf in quality once Dembele hit his stride was impossible to disguise. Whether the decision pays off will depend entirely on how fresh and sharp Haaland and Aasgaard look once they're reintroduced against Ivory Coast. Whatever happens from here, Friday night in Boston will be remembered as the night Ousmane Dembélé stepped fully out of Mbappe's shadow and into World Cup history, scoring 3 different types of finishes inside 25 minutes against a team that, on